Welcome inside the building you all know. It's the town hall, the building on the market square. But right now we're inside this beautiful building at the mayor's office. Mr. Onno Hoes, good morning for a one-on-one interview with BreakingMaas, very exclusive. We spoke once before already, and then it was on the Tihange protest, the nuclear power plant in Tihange. But right now we're going to have some kind of, I would call it an academic year recap.
Yes.
To talk about your ideas on student policy and on students in Maastricht and the relationship between Maastricht citizens and the students. But just to start it off, how was your student life, Mr. Hoes? What are your experiences you still recall from, I guess, just a couple of years ago? So.
It's indeed a couple of years ago. I was not studying at university. I was studying at Hogeschool Eindhoven, and I was doing a marketing study. And when you are good in marketing, you can sell also the city of Maastricht. So it was a wonderful study to become mayor of Maastricht.
And that was good. And as a student person, what did you do as a student? What was your activities?
No, I was not really a student. I was not living in the city of Eindhoven. Okay. I was living in another city, and I was going there every day by car. So it was not really student life.
That's a different story.
And I must say, when I see now the student life in Maastricht, I've missed something very important in my life, because those years are so crucial for your development, for your personal development also, and for the connections that you can have later on in your career.
What did you want to experience in that period? Some kind of activities, or just join a student club, or party more? What is the thing you needed?
Well, at least party more.
Oh yes, yes.
No, but also the fact that you learn a lot of people. You get to know a lot of people, and especially here in Maastricht, from all over the world. If you take that possibility.
And I 2.5 years mayor of this beautiful student city, the youngest in the Netherlands, and very international. Mm-hmm. You said once on television that you want to make this sort of balance between the traditional Maastricht citizens and then the sort of temporary students. Yeah. What do you understand with sort of a balance? How do you create it, and what do you understand with this?
Well, when you look to the demographic evolution of the city, then you see that nowadays around 20-25% of the inhabitants are, let's say, original Maastricht inhabitants. When you look to the student population, it's growing year by year, and it will grow to more than 25% of the population. So that's almost equal, and that's very strange to understand that. So you have to find a balance between those two groups, and the group in the middle is the group people that works on the campus or anywhere else and that move to the city of Maastricht. So it's an enormous mix of nationalities and backgrounds of people. Yes. So you have to find a new balance, not only the traditional Maastricht, but also all the new people who sometimes live only for a very short period in our city. Yes. So they expect something completely different. And they expect when they call the municipality that they get somebody in English, French or German speaking. They expect when they walk on the street that they see the signs in different languages. When they look for an airport and they see Vliegveld, they don't understand what it's at all.
That's tricky.
So we have to think about that kind of thing.
Yeah. Is it going too fast for you to keep up?
No, I don't think so, because it started about 30 years ago, and it's becoming more and more international, and the growing is going much faster nowadays, of course, especially in the coming years. So the influence in the city is very, very, it's very good to see. Mm-hmm. But I think the most difficult point we have passed already, because that was really the acceptance of the Maastricht people for all that strange followers that were coming into the city. Yeah. And now people accept that. But they want to have respect also for their traditions, but also for their city, because they invested all their life in their city.
Do you speak, for example, to other municipalities, for example, Utrecht or Groningen about this? Because they are, they're traditional university cities. Maybe they're more capable of saying to the citizens, look, this is actually very important to keep the students here, and don't bother too much about it. Do you have that?
Yeah, we look to Groningen, because they have special people also who are involved. That's also special policemen who are involved in student life. But then you see also that it's quite different, because we are a very small city. Well, the idea about the city of Maastricht is that we're a very big city. Well, when you ask people how big is the city, then let's say almost everybody thinks that we're in the top 5 or at least the top 10 of cities. We are 22, 23. So that's far away from the top. Yeah. But they have the feeling it's a big city, but the inner city is quite small. Yeah. So the influence is much closer to the original inhabitants than any other city. So we have to find our own solutions.
All right. Let's turn to the non-Dutch students, because you are in an English-speaking program. That's really quite a change for us as well. It's a new thing in Maastricht. Mm-hmm. It gives the sign that Maastricht is internationalizing quite a bit. Yes. What do you do to keep these non-Dutch students sort of put in Maastricht and to address them accordingly?
Well, For instance, I try to find the student organizations to have a more open mind for international students, and that's what I see for the next income, that will organize also special things for international students. It's quite difficult, I think, for student life that you have more languages, let's say every night in your own bar. So I can understand that it's more difficult for foreign students, so you have special groups, but you have also the Erasmus, of course. So there is a possibility for them, and we try to help them to find a good location where international students can resemble. But it's quite difficult to do that. So in general, I have to address everybody to see that a better mixture. For instance, for sports and culture, well, then language is not.
It's easier.
Yeah, it's easier. Yeah. And when you go out, it's also very easy. When you walk nowadays on the streets of Maastricht, you hardly hear any Dutch in the evening. So also the Dutch students, they speak other languages because you have friends who speak German, French, or English, or whatever.
Definitely do. We spoke about the police officer. There's a student police officer in place. Some non-students say, well, if I want to call the police, it's quite difficult to get not in contact with them, but to get someone on the phone who actually speaks English. Now that's not a rumor. I guess it's a fact. Do you consider that to be a problem? Is that something you want to address, or is it just sort of a bad chance one police officer who couldn't speak English?
People have to realize that they are in Holland. They are in a different country.
That's true.
So they have to understand not everything. We cannot translate everything. No. But I guess on the phone, and for this kind of important things, when you call the town hall, when you call the police, when you go to a hospital, you really have the need to speak to someone, to communicate. And then you cannot expect that in an international city like Maastricht that people don't speak at least English. So we are very busy now with the program inside the municipality to learn everybody, not to learn English, but to think about how it is to work in an international city. So we are doing that. We're starting with that program.
It takes a bit more time. People they come in very quickly, but of course you have to adapt to it. It takes more than just 1 week, and then you have all the people.
Because that's the difference between the acceptance from the last 30 years and the adaptation from the next 10 years.
But then it will take some time, understandably. One other some viewer questions, they came in, and they talk about double standards, both of its citizens, and you said they are accepted, but also the police force cannot be understood as double standards. Saying, look, you have the student here, for example, Erasmus students, they always stay for half a year. Come on, why would they, bully my, sort of trash my city?
There are some neighborhoods where especially these short-stay students are living, and that's very difficult because it's difficult to let them understand that they are just a guest. I think that's completely different when you're here for half a year or you are here for your study for 5 or 6 years. Because for 5 or 6 years you are really an inhabitant of the city and it's part of your of your life. When you're only for half a year here, well, then the question is also, to be honest, what I see from the outside, what are you doing that half year? Because a lot of them are partying, and I understand that. But then you really have to think about in which city am I, and I can party wherever I want, but not when I walk between the bar or whatever and home, because there you pass a lot of houses where people sleep and they have to work. So it's a really different group, and what I started last year, not only to address the new students at the income, but also to address the people for the short stay. So I do that twice a year. Okay.
How do you communicate with university on that? Is there some kind of monthly meeting, or do you have some kind of representative you talk with about these issues?
Well, in general, we have a new project now. I lead that together with Martin Paul from the university, the chairman. And we are the two men who are responsible for a whole program with a lot of working groups. That's about living conditions, cultural conditions, mobility, language, all that kind of things. Because we want to help the transition period for the next 10 years.
About the job opportunities in Maastricht for both Dutch and non-Dutch students. I myself am a Dutch student. I studied public policy, so a bit like what you are doing right now.
You want to be on my chair?
Yeah, I'm in the same chair. Sort of. But it's kind of a problem. I mean, people, they tend to go to Amsterdam or to go even away to Brussels, for example. Is there a policy at the municipal level, maybe the provincial level, to make Maastricht and the region more attractive?
Two things about that. On the first place, I was speaking with a colleague from me from Berlin. He has the same problem. It's the same problem that a lot of people like to study there, and then they cannot find a job. Even in Berlin, they cannot find a job.
No.
So their slogan now is "Start your life in Berlin." And I think that's also what we have to think about. Start your life in Maastricht, and we hope you can find a job here, because I think it's also very necessary for the region and for the city to develop.
Yes.
You need a lot of new influences, because nowadays, well, when you stick with only your old history, your old traditions, then you are gone.
Yeah.
So you really need those new influences, because when you are sitting outside with your iPad or whatever, you can have your business. And so you don't have to travel, but then we have to give the conditions for that.
Okay.
But when you look for really jobs, and not for as a startup you can do quite easily, I think.
Yes,
and you have the conditions for that, so that's not a really problem, I think. But when you want to have a job in a big organization, well, that's more difficult nowadays.
Yes.
And it's very difficult to get big organizations moved to this region. So we're very glad we have already a lot of opportunities. For instance, at the DSM campus at Gemmelot, also here at the health campus. And we're trying also to develop more cooperation with Liège in Belgium, with Hasselt and with Aachen. Because when you take that your region, then you see that there are much more opportunities. So we have to learn everybody that within 20 or 30 kilometers you can have your job.
You still do a lot.
Yeah.
And then this year, it's been a massive thing for you, of course, the coffee shop policy.
Finally, yes.
I mean, it has to come at some point. Let's not bother about it too much.
It took you a long time.
Yes, I'm always. It's my third team. I'm not going to say about it, for example, that students come here to only smoke up. But that's ridiculous. But what's the current state of affairs? What is going on right now?
Well, every student that is written in our register here in the city, they can just go to a coffee shop and smoke whatever they want.
Yes.
At the place there.
Yes.
Officially, you cannot take it at home.
No.
To be honest
about
that.
staying legal around.
But the big thing was, of course, that the law changed in the Netherlands. I was glad about that, because we got in the past 2 million visitors a year. 2 million visitors a year in this small city of 122,000 people. 2 million visitors that came only for coffee shops. They come to the coffee shop, they eat a hamburger, they drink a cola, and they go back. No, they first smoke in the car, and they go back to the coffee shop, they smoke again, and then they go back home.
Okay.
That's not the kind of traffic I like in my city. That's not what the Maastricht people
And no
like.
one wants that, I guess.
No, and that's the reason why I was very glad that the law changed.
Related to that policy of yours, when you closed up, when the coffee shops were closed up, was the increased, or at least the perceived increased crime rate. People felt unsafe. You also said on Dutch radio that's actually the case. It was quite unsafe for a moment of time when you and the police force started up and were controlling more of the city. Even got some more assistance from other cities. Yeah. How is that going right now? Do you still have that, or you have it under control?
Well, at the moment, we have everything under control. It's very interesting that only I think 4 or 5 shops are open at the moment. And although only 4 or 5 from out of 14, it's still very quiet on the streets.
And then for next year, next academic year, what are your expectations? Anything you want to address? You want to say to the viewers still, like, look, this is going to be very, very important, and please bear that in mind.
Well, bear in mind, I think the thing that we were speaking the last half hour about is to find a nice place into the city and try also to have think about what can I do for the city also. That would be very interesting, not only to come here and to celebrate, but also to study hard and to feel that you are a member of Maastricht and go to all the traditional events that we have. But send me also emails with your ideas and send it to the organization with fresh ideas, how we can change, how we can better the city life here, because then it will be much more interesting again after a year.
A better future. On that note, thank you very much, Mr. Hoes, for the interview. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Okay.
And a very good
luck
next academic year.